just wanna know.
My name is Majale, also known as the Gypsy Bus Lady, and I bought a school bus about 2 months ago and am in the process of converting it into a mobile home. Okay. I have to be honest, okay? I was very nervous. I was very skeptical about doing this YouTube thing because I was like, what if my content's not good? If you look up skoolie conversions, there are so many people and families that record their journey. So I didn't think that it was needed. But then people pointed out to me continuously that one, there were not a lot of Black people doing it, and two, there were not a lot of Black women doing it. So I want to start this channel and take you guys on this journey with me for the primary reason of showing somebody you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And like everything that I've done for the most part is self-taught. I have a construction background, but for the most part, everything that I've done so far has been like self-taught. YouTube, blogs, even podcasts. I've listened to podcasts and stuff that didn't really have too much to do with building, but I've listened to podcasts, and if I can do this, you can do this too. If this is your dream, then there is no reason that you should not at least attempt to do it. So that is my purpose in this podcast. And it's not just turning a bus into a mobile home or schoolie. It's really anything that you want to do. Anything in life you want. Anything in life that you want to do. You want to start a business. You want to move to somewhere that you've never been before. If you want to do it, do it. There's no reason that you should not do the things that you want to do if you want to do them. So that is what this is all about. So because I've decided to do this so late, not even so late, I'm still in the beginning phases of my conversion. But because I didn't do this from the beginning, I don't have a ton of footage of the very beginning, but I will be recording and being pretty thorough moving forward. I purchased my bus in October on an online auction and started my conversion, I think it was like November 1st, 2019. And that started with me taking out the seats. So in taking out the seats, I wanted to do what I saw some people do, which was holding the net at the top, having somebody screw them from the bottom, whatever. But that didn't work out for me because my bus was a little older and I was doing it myself. So I ended up just taking an angle grinder and just grinding away at the bolts at the top until they knocked off and took all the seats out. And then I disposed of the seats. I took them to like a junkyard and just dumped them, and then I was done with that. I had some people just suggest some other tools and stuff to use to take out the seats. I tried using socket sets. I tried using a Dremel. Do not use a Dremel. Let me just say that. Do not try to use a Dremel because honestly, just taking it to those bolts are pretty thick. They're pretty heavy duty. So like you take the Dremel to it and the bit just grinds it away. So just don't do it. It did nothing. So honestly for that, the angle grinder was really like my best friend. Once the seats were removed and disposed of, I went ahead and started taking out the flooring. Luckily for me, with my bus, it wasn't one of those buses that had like that membrane, that rubbery floor over the top and then like plywood under. My bus was just like the rubbery floor with some like really weird gummy kind of like adhesive under it. So once we took the floor up and disposed of that, then it was a process of just like cleaning the floor and getting all that gunk up, which I had one of my little cousins, I had to pay her. And we took all that gunk up with acetone. We bought acetone from Home Depot, like the big box of acetone from Home Depot, put it in little spray bottles, and we're just taking brushes and grinding and figuring out how to get all that stuff up. So once we got all that gunk up, which took a couple days, like Then it was a matter of scraping the floors clean of like paint and any like leftover adhesives and stuff like that. Once we got the floor pretty clean, we're able to assess the rust. Now, let me say, my bus is a Pennsylvania bus. People advise you not to buy buses too far north because of all the salts on the road and all the rust. I lucked up. I really did. My bus is a Pennsylvania bus. It's a 2004 bus, and it's in really, 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 really good condition, like astronomically good condition. There was like one really rusty patch, but even that wasn't so bad. I've seen some buses that were like bad, like really, really bad. My bus is pretty good, so I'm not complaining about the rust. You know, we went through, we grinded it down. Any other like small rust spots that we found, we like grinded those down, brushed them down, got them down good, sanded. We used a bit on the end of a like drill. That was a brush, and that worked, but it wasn't the best. We tried wire brushes that worked, but it wasn't the best. Honestly, the best thing ended up being just using like a sander. We just had like a little sander on a little pad thing, and that honestly ended up being the best. So once we got the rust sanded down, it was time to apply the rust converter and paint. By that time, it was like the end of December-ish, getting towards the end of December, and it was cold outside, and the paint needed at least 50 degrees in order for it to cure. So I kind of got a little bit, you know, frustrated, and I just looked at the bus every day and didn't really do much because I couldn't really do anything at that point. Besides, you know, some small things that I was able to do, like taking stickers off and getting it prepared to go through inspection, which would be a whole nother story, let me tell you. But I wasn't able to do much because it was cold outside and these paints and stuff were temperature sensitive. So we had this really weird stint of like really good weather towards the end of December, beginning of January in New Jersey. It was like 50, 55, 60, 45. We had like really like good weather after coming out of like the 30s and stuff. So I took that opportunity, and I had a lot of time off of work because it was the holidays, and I applied my rust converter. I did one coat because, again, my bus was not a very rusty bus at all. And then I did 2 coats of my, before I did that, I was about to lie to you, and I'm not a liar. So I did my rust converter. After the rust converter was down, I patched the holes in the floor from where the seats were with pennies and liquid nail. Now, in my experience, liquid nail was not the right product to use on that floor at all, because even after they had cured for like 3, 4, 5 days, I was able to like kick them and they popped right up. So what I ended up doing instead was buying some like waterproof heavy duty Gorilla Glue tape and covering up the holes. So one of the pennies that stayed, I left those, but then I just covered up the other ones with tape, and that worked a whole lot better. So then I painted my floor. I did 2 coats of my Rust-Oleum paint, and I gave it a day. And I think because it was a little cold, it was like 45, 50. The paint didn't cure in a day like it should have or whatever. So I gave it like 2 days between coats, but I did do 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum paint. And after that cured, I was able to go ahead and start framing out the floor. And I decided to use 2x2s because I'm using 2x2 is actually 1.5 inches, and I was using an 1.5 inch polystyrene insulation on the floors, or rigid insulation in the floors. So I used 2x2s. Split them. I got some super floors. We ripped them, and we bolted them down. Once all of those got bolted down, I was able to start installing my insulation. Cut it, pop it in there. That was, you know, it was kind of like a blow and go kind of thing. My uncle was here because it was New Year's holiday break or whatever that he had. So he was up here and he was able to help me out a ton in the bus, and he really enjoyed being able to do the work. But we got some work done. And then after all of my insulation was down, we did the plywood subflooring. Now, it's not as neat as it could be, but it's not that bad. It is not that bad, okay? So as it stands right now, I've gotten to subflooring, okay? I have not ripped out my walls yet and taken that insulation out. That's actually next. and I have not taken down all of my ceiling. I took down one ceiling panel, but that was just to get to the wiring for the lights and stuff so I can get it registered. But subflooring is as far as I've gotten so far. There could be better ways to do everything that I did, better, faster, cheaper, whatever. But these are just a handful of tips that I think would have, just saved me a bit of time in the beginning. 1, be mindful of when you're buying your bus. Please be mindful of when you are buying your bus, because I stressed out over when I would be able to get work done because it was just too cold to do the work. 2, use an angle grinder to take out those seats. 3, as you're taking out the seats and stuff, if there are components that you can save, just start thinking ahead. My seats had 2 hinges per seat, like little hinges that I can use on doors, on freaking drawers, on furniture that I build and stuff inside the bus. So just be mindful of some of that stuff. You don't need to throw everything out. You might even want to save some of your bus seats if you're going to turn that into furniture. I recently saw somebody do a thing where they took their bus seats and turned the framing for the bus seats into some mounts for their roof deck, which I was like, oh, that's so cool. What is this, 4? I think this is number 4. Don't do the penny thing. Just use some freaking tape and tape the holes in the floor, because man, I hate redoing work. Having to redo work drives me crazy. 5, have fun and enjoy it, because sometimes it's a little repetitive and a little bit annoying, but like, play your music, dance a little bit, get your coffee, do what you got to do to get yourself in that mood, and just enjoy the process, because like, you are doing something so cool. You are doing something so amazing. When it's done, you are going to freaking love it. Okay.
I just wanna know.